Welcome to At Home with Kelly and Tiffany, where naturally minded women gather together as we pursue simplicity and confidence in health alternatives so we can show up better in our busy lives and feel more at home in our bodies. Join your favorite home birth midwife duo for conversation, candor, and community.
You're at home with Kelly and Tiffany.
I am Kelly.
And I am Tiffany.
I noticed that you always say you're home with Kelly and Tiffany.
That's because it's the name of the podcast.
But like you say it, and then I say, hi, I'm Kelly.
Do you want to switch it up a little bit?
I don't know. That sounds like a lot of pressure, though.
Why don't you introduce the podcast?
Hi, I'm Kelly of your favorite podcast, At Home with Kelly and Tiffany.
And I'm Tiffany.
Okay, now we're here. Great.
Maybe they didn't know what they were listening to.
Maybe not.
Maybe they thought they clicked something else, and then they're like, Kelly and Tiffany.
Sound nice.
Listen to them. Okay, friends. We are in a deep dive into hormone land.
It's beautiful here.
So confusing and inflammatory. Feel right at home.
I'm excited to talk about this topic in particular.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I've grown a lot in my love and appreciation for it. Yeah.
I mean, detox is a buzzword that I hate.
Yeah.
We have to use a lot of buzzwords around here so that people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, yeah, that I have context for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we want you to know that there's some semantics involved, ladies, and we're gonna get down to it. And
we are.
If you have qualms with some of the words we use,
take it up with somebody else.
Go listen to another podcast.
But don't give us anything less than a 5-star review.
So hospitable around here.
It really is.
Yeah. If you like us, you can stay. At the end of last year, I introduced a segment called the Music Challenge.
I do remember that.
Do you remember?
That was my favorite episode.
Okay, so
because you chose, I think you really thought that you were going to stump me.
And I didn't at all.
No,
it was actually, I was amazed that you caught it so quickly.
Yep.
But I should have known because we just heard that song. It was probably still stuck in your head.
It was a whole experience we had with the song.
Yeah.
At a piano bar. It was great.
This time I really got you.
Okay.
I just want you to know.
Okay, listeners, we shall see about this.
Okay.
I'm feeling a little stressed.
Good.
In hormone land.
Yeah,
That's not good.
You might have excess hormones that you need to detox after
Great.
this. We'll do an experiment on you.
Probably.
Okay, here it comes. I'm doing this tonight. You're probably going to start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey, baby, come on. I love you endlessly, and you
weren't there for me.
So now it's time to
leave
and make it
come on.
alone.
Come on.
I know
alone. No,
that I can't take no more.
It ain't no lie. Baby, bye. It's really confusing when it's slow.
I want to see you out that door, baby. Bye, bye, bye. All right, you got it. You got it.
I knew it from the second line.
Yeah,
when I
you
was like,
did?
this is
you're so good.
it. I could sing it.
You're my little musical genius.
Yeah, I am.
You're good at this. That's why this is fun.
I do
fun
enjoy
segment for me.
Lyrical. I have a mind for lyrical memorization. In high school and college, how I passed all of my tests on information I didn't understand, I turned it into a song. And then as I was taking my test, I'm like, singing in my head.
Yeah, proud of you. So good. One of my favorite quarantine facts. I only have one. My only quarantine fact that I like, was you took the time during quarantine to learn the bye-bye song dance.
The bye-bye dance.
Yeah.
The bye-bye song dance.
So good.
There are some great YouTubes out there. If you too would like to learn the bye-bye song dance, you will feel really good about yourself. You will sweat. Here we go. Yep.
Okay.
That's my segue into what we're talking about. That learning the bye-bye dance song will make you sweat, which is a particular detox pathway. And it will decrease your stress. It's great. Yep.
The only dance that will make you sweat and detox hormones. Bye.
You'll feel a lot of hormones watching the 2001 video.
Justin's got his curly fro.
Oh, yes.
It's just all
frosted tip. Oh, good.
I think Chris Kirkpatrick might even have his braids in.
Oh, yeah.
Those are crazy times.
So a lot of the detox concepts lead to body drainage that doesn't invoke some beautiful thoughts. And I was thinking, wow, I mean, the things that we're going to tell women to do, completely natural and normal and great, but has you paying attention to a lot of body fluid.
True.
And I was just thinking of how our job as home birth midwives, we end up interacting with a lot of body fluid. Give me one top memory of body fluid interaction at a birth that you have had.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about our own body fluids or weird things. And I was like,
no, I don't want to do that.
Let's have something else. Oh, can I talk about barf?
Yep.
Is that acceptable?
It can be a drainage passage if you're like really needing detox immediately.
I mean, I got barfed on when I was in my first trimester of my last pregnancy, and then I smiled at her and turned around and dry heaved for the next 5 minutes, and I couldn't move. And I'm just sitting there in front of her dry heaving.
Oh, that was a really compassionate response. Something about being pregnant. I was totally fine with, body fluids generally don't bother me. I'm like, oh, it kind of smells like poop in here, but whatever. Let's open the windows, spray some oil. Pregnancy body fluid smell is overwhelming.
Oh, and actually how I found out, or how I was like, oh, I wouldn't be pregnant. I was at a birth. I was prepping the placenta afterwards and looking at it, whatever, and putting it away. And I was like, this is the most disgusting smell I've ever, this can't be good. Something's wrong, right? The midwife I was training with was like, smells like a placenta.
You were like,
I was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, no.
Silly.
Anyways.
Oh.
I don't know why. I'm interested to hear yours. Do you have one to share?
Okay, so I remember birth that we were at together where the birth was moving really quickly and it was a great, beautiful birth. Everything was fine about it and I loved it. But you somehow had poop on the bottom of your foot.
Yep.
You were kicking something off your foot while you were straddling somebody's birth tub because their baby was actually coming out.
Yes.
And you couldn't figure out what was on your foot.
Yeah, so I stepped in something and I was like, oh, I see something dark. It was dark.
It was super dark. The room was super dark.
Yeah, yes. And then I saw something dark on my foot and I was like, what did I step in? And then so the thing that you do to try to get something off is you just shake it. Shake it. And I realized, maybe it was you who realized it first. And I was like, well, I can't wipe it off. I can't pay attention. So I sat.
You already had gloves on by then?
I sat with my poop foot while her baby was born.
I think I wiped some of it, probably. I got the piece that you fling at me on the floor.
It was specifically at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tiffany never helps with anything. I'm doing all the work again.
Like a monkey.
Joy.
Our job is great.
So good.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are like, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, it does take a special kind of person.
I do see that.
Because that's a fond memory.
Yes.
No, it does not.
Right? Yeah, I'm not mortified. Nope. I'm not I can't be a midwife anymore because it's disgusting stuff.
No, I loved it.
I mean, there's been some disgusting stuff. I had somebody's water break and it splashed into my eye. And then I was like, well, I have your lab work. I think we're all okay. I don't know. I was fine.
Yeah, and she had her baby.
And I still have my eyesight.
So far. Joy. That's an episode in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
Disgusting things at a birth. But we're going to talk about disgusting things that you can get out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
As we dive into that, how about this concept, my friends?
How about it?
Okay. What if somehow, some way, I don't know, some of the information and education that you've received here on the show, for example, you decrease what your body has to process and detoxify.
Yes.
What if there was a way to not have to so violently try to get this stuff out of your body?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We talked about endocrine disruptors in episode 96 of nourishing your hormones. And so that's a great one for ladies to hop back to, and how our environment could potentially play into how hormones are metabolized in our body. But your body is already in a state of wellness. It is already an efficient detoxer.
I mean, that's like how it was designed.
Yes.
To the intake and the detox.
Absolutely. But there's only so much that one poor body can possibly.
Well, especially if like you look at all of the things that can impact that, right? We're talking about disruptors, and we're talking about food that we're eating. Like, I mean, we're just kind of, and the stress that we have, and all of these things compounding on itself, that your body's like, why can I only detox so much?
Yeah.
I'm really trying here. And then stuff starts to build up.
And potentially we're not even nourishing those drainage pathway initiators that are able to even recognize, convert, and remove those toxins that need to come out of your body. And so a lot of us in that dysfunctional pattern end up not being able to utilize our detox systems, and a lot of disease and dis-ease stem from that piece, is that we're just kind of like walking around holding on to a lot of things that are keeping us sick.
Absolutely.
So
it kind of reminds me of younger and having had too much to drink, waking up and being like, or even now, like if I have like 2 glasses of wine that has too much sugar in it, right? And I'm like, my body's like, you really pushed at me too hard, and I'm making you pay the price now. And when I actually go ahead to do something, whether it's like sweating it out or something, and my body's like, that really helped me take the edge off of like that terrible thing that you did to me last night.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I kind of have to be like, okay, sorry, I'll better choice next time. You know?
Well, and how come, you brought up alcohol, which is in my life is a great example, because I look at the types of hangovers that I had in my early 20s versus now going into my late 30s. I'm like, well, I just can't have half a glass of white wine. It's turned out that won't do it.
Right.
Or I can't have a white wine and then later in the evening have a red wine. It turned out like that doesn't work either.
Right.
Something about how our body ages and has an accumulation of optimal function. Plays into it also.
For sure.
Right? That's a real thing.
Yeah. I've recently discovered, and I'll share this with podcast people, whenever I drink wine, even if it's a half a glass, I cannot sleep. No matter what I do to balance my blood sugar or whatever, before I know for sure, I'm like, I'm going to be up for like 2.5 hours.
Yes, your body does not like it.
My body does not like it. And for a long time, I was like, well, you're just going to deal with it because I like it. I like the taste of it. But Tiffany's kept me on the straight and narrow.
Well, I mean, aren't you glad our podcast isn't called Wine and Gine anymore?
Yes, because I would be like, well, I got some Gine information. How is your wine? Yeah. I'll drink yours. Box it up tomorrow.
It would not be on brand for us. But yeah, I mean, I've seen wine do some bad things to you.
Yeah.
For curious,
very
strange and your body doesn't like it. And I refuse to drink wine with you now.
I love you.
We'll drink lots of other stuff.
There's so many great things.
There's so many. We don't have to be limited with wine. Okay, what your body already knows how to do is detox. Let's decrease that toxic load with a couple of ideas.
Yes.
Things that you eat, things that you put on your skin, the air that you breathe.
In particular, somebody I was chatting with on Instagram was talking about how they go to Airbnbs every so often, like for work, whatever. And she was, you have no idea how many people put Glade plugins. When you walk in and you're just like, okay, I can unplug it. But now, if you're not used to, you can smell it everywhere. And those things, research has shown, are terrible for our system for a lot of reasons, including our hormones. And I'm like, something as simple as the air that you breathe, or you put your head down on a pillow that has been exposed to that, or what kind of laundry, whatever. I'm like, oh man, I can see how it can drive somebody into neurosis, but also how important it is to be like, well, the places that I have control over, step by step, I'm going to make this one particular change, and that can only serve as a snowball to the next thing.
Yeah, artificial fragrance in general is just
trash.
One of the hardest things. I love the concept of nose breathing
Yes.
also
Mm-hmm.
for decreasing toxin load. And that's a rabbit hole that we cannot go down.
No.
If somebody wants to learn more about that, what resource would you send them to?
So everybody has a favorite holistic dentist they follow on Instagram, don't they? But at Ask the Dentist, my favorite site or like favorite source of information all about oral health in general and how that impacts digestion and gut health and hormones in general. But he taught me a lot about nose breathing, mouth taping. Like I got down some serious rabbit holes that have actually changed the way that I breathe, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I have oral restrictions, so you may know, listener, no, Tiffany knows, like what that can do for how you eat, how your tongue moves, how you breathe, how your mouth is situated, all of that. And so it's been kind of fun to realize like how that's actually impacted my life as an adult. And even though it's insane, like I don't have things that other people have, I'm like, oh, this is really fascinating to me that I needed to learn how to breathe through.
And cool that you
Yeah.
were willing to do it and saw a result.
Yeah.
Proud of you. Sleep is another big aspect of helping your body detox efficiently, because you having your cells recovered and being in optimal function actually what is going to be transporting those things. And your liver is one of your biggest detox organs. It works really closely with your kidneys, and those have specific, really active regenerating times overnight.
Yep.
I think the liver's like 11 to 1 and kidneys like 2 to 4 or something like that, right? Yeah. That just in circadian rhythm, your body's like, this is really deep sleep that I'm going to take advantage of, doing the good hard work of recovery every night.
And that's actually one of our favorite things to harp on, to talk about. We love, not only just love sleeping, but love to talk about how important sleep actually is, especially in our culture that's like, well, we'll just stay up late and get this like hustle stuff done. And the thing to get tossed out the window is sleep.
Yeah. I'm working on a circadian rhythm episode in the future. So we'll eventually get to that in the next couple months.
Love it.
Pack that for everybody who wishes that they never knew about that. Then they'll have to know. Mm-hmm. We'll tell them stuff.
We'll tell you stuff. And you might not want to know, but then you listen and then you're like, well, I'll try it. And then you're like, love, you got it.
Another thing you can do to keep your detox need lower is be aware of your stress.
Yes. I think everybody's like, I know I'm stressed, or there is stress or whatever, but recognizing how important it is to start some systems or some rhythms that actually help you manage that stress. Because we can't tell you, just get rid of all the stress. Like, that's garbage if somebody says, like,
just decrease your stress. Duh.
That's easy, right?
Easy for you to say.
Or like, oh, that job stresses you out, quit. I'm like, well, maybe.
You know, it would be more stressful.
Having no myself. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but recognizing that your body is going to deal with the stress and the inflammatory process that stress causes as a parasympathetic neurological response before it goes to this secondary task of detoxing, right?
And quick side note too, not just stressful like situations or relationships, also like working out way too hard and undernourishing yourself, or not sleeping enough, or all those things. Your body's like, actually, this feels very stressful. Even if you're like, actually, I feel great because I'm working out for 2 hours every day and I'm only eating this, whatever. I'm sure you don't feel great doing that, but your body is stressed in those situations, even if it's necessarily pinging is like, this is a stress.
That's my entire life. So thank you for bringing that up.
And that's the end of today's episode.
All right, I'll talk to you guys next time. Okay, so we want to decrease whenever possible what our body actually has to process. The point of the detox is that your body just can't use the thing. It's either going to harm you or cannot use it. And so it doesn't belong there. Your body wants to get it out.
Or potentially like estrogen or something, right? Like it belongs there, but now it's just building up and accumulating. And it's like, now I'm dominating the situation and I'm messing everything up because I can't get out.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about is drainage pathways. And this is the way that the body is able to excrete toxins. So detox can happen when these pathways are open.
Yep.
And for a lot of people, it's a pathway problem, not necessarily a detox problem. So potentially your detox system is working well, but it just doesn't have an efficient drainage pathway. And so I have 4 main drainage pathways that we're going to talk about today. The first one is your colon.
The colon. I like talking about pooping.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
I think that it's uncomfortable for many people to talk about, and I can't tell you, but well, I can tell you. I can't tell you, listener, how many people we've had in our office who, when we talk about poop, very shy, don't want to answer it. Or in particular, their husbands, if they're there with them, they're like, ugh,
my wife doesn't poop.
No, she's a poop girl from poop, right?
Yeah, you don't do that, do you, babe?
But what a massive sign of health that is. And it can go so many different ways. Too much of it, not enough of it.
We had a client last year who we were working on some constipation stuff with, which is fairly common in pregnancy. Yeah. But if you have a little bit of constipation before you get pregnant, sometimes pregnancy can just make it so wacky. And she coined her poop project something. What was it?
Well, it was a word that What?
Yeah.
I think we're thinking of the same thing.
I just remembered it.
Yeah.
Shit-situation.
Yeah.
Here's an update on my shit-situation. In an email, she had said that. So great.
As if, this is what everybody calls it, right?
Yeah, of course.
But yes, poop in particular, the colon, it wants to get rid of some of these things. Ways to help that. We touch on almost always about the importance of gut health. That's going to be a heavy hitter for your
own shit. Women should be pooping at minimum once per day.
Yes.
And it should feel like a one sitting complete movement once a day.
Yes.
It's totally normal and fine to have good formed stools 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a day if that's normal for you. But if you are pooping less than once a day and you're dealing with some imbalance issues with your hormones, these are related.
Yeah.
They are absolutely related. So how do we poop? How do we poop more? How do we keep our poop drainage open?
Everybody probably knows fibrous food in particular are going to be super helpful. We really like digestive enzymes too for people in this situation. Magnesium's always a helpful one to kind of move things along. But in general, it just comes back to gut health, I think. There also sometimes can be pelvic floor things. We could go down every rabbit trail there is there, but those are probably the top ones.
Yeah, and hydration.
Yeah.
I'd throw in there too, which hydration gets pretty much into every single pathway that we're going to talk about today. Okay, the second one is liver and gallbladder.
Mm-hmm.
The liver is I don't know, a filter of some kind. It's like a machine. The blood goes in and it gets cleaned by the liver. The liver sends those toxins into bile that are then excreted through bowel movement and urine. The urine is reliant on the kidneys functioning well because that is where all of our hydration is filtered through. And there's a really important part of supporting those pieces, like we talked about earlier with sleep, keeping your toxic load down and stuff like that. But there's a good amount of gentle liver supporting things that even women who are pregnant can do in order to promote liver health. What are some of those items that we kind of toss around for people to mess around with?
One of the big ones is protein intake.
Yeah.
Probably, and again, we're always kind of back to food in particular. There's lots of herbs and supplements and whatever, but this one in particular, your protein intake, I would say assess it for, a couple days just to see what your baseline is and see where you can more of it.
Yeah, your liver is fueled on amino acids.
Yeah.
So if you are not getting adequate protein, then you're not fueling that main detox system. And I would say women just across the board, not pregnant, not nursing, just chilling with their hormone imbalances. It's 70 grams a day of protein at minimum.
Yeah.
And even shooting for a target up to 90 or 100, or if you're very active, you can do much more.
Which is, depending on your normal dietary choices, can feel like a heavy or tall mountain to climb.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on, what your normal choices look like. So.
Yeah. Average woman in our experience who does not pay very close attention to getting protein every single day is probably getting around 30 or 40 grams. So a lot of attention could be made in that department for sure.
For sure. B and D vitamins also. So methylated B in particular, D, always a great addition. I certainly find those as well, but those are a great addition into liver support. There are a million herbs, lifestyle, all of that kind of stuff that can support liver as well.
When women are focusing on their hydration in order to optimize these detox and drainage systems, what is the amount of water or amount of clear fluid that...
Is it technically like half your weight in ounces? Is that like the general recommendation?
Yeah.
And that's like the baseline of what you should be aiming for.
Yeah. And I would even go upwards of ounce per pound.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of fancy calculators online. We usually tell people 3 quarts of water or like 3 liters.
Like if I tried to drink that amount, I would be like, I drink water today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's like not enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And chronic dehydration is a problem that is so much more than detox and, you know, getting your hormones metabolized and such. The third drainage pathway is skin.
Largest organ in the body.
I mean, truly, we do not give our skin enough attention, enough credit, enough.
Well, and we like bombard it with a bunch of crap products a lot of times too. And if it is such a drainage pathway, it's happening the other way.
Yeah, it is.
What is
it's
it
a sponge.
in? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I read something recently that I don't know exactly what it was, but it made an impression on me that like 60% of our environment that we come in contact with our skin, we absorb some amount of it within like 3 seconds of having touched it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did you like think about that?
Right.
So we want to make sure that there's a lot of going out action. And the easiest or the most straightforward way is sweat.
Yes. And so obviously you can get a good sweat on in a lot of different ways. Or like moving your body in certain ways can obviously do that for you, but also a detox bath, which we link our freebie in the show notes that we have about how to actually take one of those. That's a great way to help encourage your body to sweat, to work some of that stuff out of that drainage pathway. One of the things that Tiffany and I love is our sauna bags. We have like home little bags that we can actually get into and just get good stinking sweat. And for me, it makes me feel so much less inflamed, so much less like puffy, so much happier. I think my skin is really like, I was able to get rid of a lot right there. Thank you. Or when I'm sick and I get into it, I don't sweat. Like it's the sweatiest that I get when I go to do that. So just an interesting way that my body's like, oh yeah, actually really need to get some of this stuff right here.
Yeah. Pretty much all sauna is a great detoxifier. Dry, steam, infrared, all going to activate your drainage pathway through your skin. When you have a toxic overload in your body, it overflows into your bloodstream. And then now you have that circulating, causing all kinds of problems. And it's not able to go through the digestive system the way that you're so the way that you are able to detox in that toxic situation is get your sweat drainage pathways going.
You know, you and I both know people who have a really hard time sweating, like a hard time working out to sweat. Even one of my friends was just telling me she got a sauna bag, really working on it. I've been doing it almost every night, like trying to build that up. It was like, that's so fascinating how some bodies are just like wanting to hold on to stuff for a while. And then she texted me this morning and was like, I had my first session where I actually was sweating. I had to like put my baby down, like a shower. It was crazy. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it kind of like taught her body how to sweat.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was, we have a mutual friend at church who had a really similar situation. And she was like, I know a lot of my chronic inflammation and, stuff is because I can't detox while I don't sweat.
Yeah.
And I mean, 20-year-old Tiffany would have heard that information and been like, how good for you.
Yeah,
you don't have, wow, you're like less disgusting than everybody else. But that should be a really huge red flag for our listeners. If you have a hard time breaking a sweat or you just do not sweat easily, that is an issue with that drainage pathway. I love you mentioned it, the higher dose sauna bath.
Yeah.
We can share more information in show notes about that. It has absolutely changed everything about my detox routine and encouraged me in the other areas because it's immediate gratification.
Yes.
I can jump in the bag. I can get all of that open and going. And then I don't know why, but then I'm like, let me go take a cold shower right now.
Yes, exactly.
Let me do some dry brushing. Let me, right? And so I encourage you ladies to pick something that is a quick win so that it can snowball into another thing. The very last drainage pathway is lymph, your lymphatic system. You have lymph nodes all over your body in key places where mostly it's organ systems kind of coming together, your armpits, your neck, your groin. It's a place where fluid from your tissue drains in and through, including how your brain detoxes is through your lymphatic system. We just recently started following somebody on Instagram who's all about lymphatic. You must have started following her because I didn't.
And I started and I was like, she's so good at this.
If we think of who she is, let's put her in the show notes too, because she has these full-on videos on how to open up your lymph passageways, or how to know if they're congested or stuck.
If you wake up with this, or like your puppy around your eye, whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm trying this.
Yeah. So helpful to have that information because it's DIY at home stuff, which of course we're all about.
We love the simple stuff that you get into your hands and into our own hands.
Most importantly.
And that's why we talk about it, because we're like, oh, some of these things are simple, but they can be pretty groundbreaking for sure.
Some other things you can do to support your lymphatic drainage is dry brushing, hot and cold therapy. So like, I don't know, people call it the polar plunge.
Yes.
Lots of different ways that you can do that.
Have you ever, what do they call that when they get the cold?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I went to a Korean spa with one of my preceptors a long time ago when I was in midwifery school, and they had hot and cold submersion. And I was like, I'm not sure about that. But I did it.
Right.
It's uncomfortable. I mean, like all good things are, I guess.
I've done it, and I remember being like, you're going to die.
Yeah.
I know people who love it. Not somebody who loves it. I have been doing the cold shower after the hot sauna.
That's about as much as I can do. I'm like,
no, but that's okay. I'm just in the shower. My husband will call and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, mostly. Probably. No.
Releases endorphins in people's brains the same way that exercise does. So I can see how certain people could be super susceptible to that.
Absolutely.
Good for them. Red light therapy. We talked about infrared a little bit.
Love red light therapy.
Massage.
Yeah.
Massage can...
I mean, that's one of the reasons that, like, you get a massage and, like, make sure you drink a grip of water today. Moved a bunch of stuff around.
Yeah, it's great. Rebounding.
Yes.
We haven't talked about rebounding in a long time.
And actually, the first time that I even learned about it was a friend of mine who was very young at the time, had breast cancer, and she had a bunch of lymphs taken out with her, going through all of her treatment. And her, it wasn't a naturopath, it was somebody who was working with her who was, alternative, who was like, do this. So it's like part of her routine because she's actually have to do it for my body, right?
What is it if no one's ever heard of rebounding before?
It's giving your body the sensation of movement, basically. So what she does, she actually has like a small kind of like trampoline thing that she's able to, hold on to something. It's almost sounds like one of those little little baby trampolines that they hold on to, but she's able to do that. Actually feel it.
Yeah, so you can jump on something. Birth balls are the perfect thing. That's like so accessible for most moms listening. You can rebound on that.
I'm actually like currently just kind of
bouncing right now, doing it. And then the last thing for lymphatic drainage is deep breathing.
That sounds nice. A nice little dry brush, a red light, rebounding. Great.
I mean, this is real self-care is what we're talking about.
Yes, you do not need to go to a place to rebound or dry brush or even have red light be like there are tons of
lots of great ways to bring that into your home. And of course, we will link some of those things in show notes for you guys. I know we're piquing someone's curiosity on something who's like, I have never heard of that. What are you talking about?
Yes. Or like, why didn't you include this thing? We have our limitations, right? There's a million other things that we could have added into different parts of this list.
Okay. One of the fastest ways to get some of these pathways going is detox baths.
Yes.
My favorite freebie of ours for sure. So we're bringing it back up to mass distribution status. It's for everybody. Super simple ways to just use your bathtub at home and get some of your sweat going.
You don't have to buy anything unless you don't have a bathtub.
Then that's gonna be really expensive to start doing detox baths.
You have to go to a friend's house to detox.
Okay. Yes.
And on the same topic, as we kind of dig deeper into different pathways, how that impacts our hormones in particular, we are still hosting our hormone reset invitation, not a challenge. That is live right now.
Challenge.
Totally in the opposite of challenge. No, it's a challenge.
Challenge invite.
A challenge.
Yeah, challenge invitation. It's a chin invitation.
As they say. But that is live. You can sign up for that in the show notes. Even if you already get our newsletter and our other emails, this is a particular email set that can come straight to you. You'll get a couple emails a week as we work through for a whole month different aspects of hormone balancing, resetting. We'll talk more in different ways about detoxing, and really wonderful way to encourage just some balance in your life. And so shifting also some of the symptoms that you might have, assessing your wins and your victories, all that kind of good stuff.
It's one of the coolest things we've done this year so far. Hands down. 2023.
It's 100%. There's pretty much nothing else.
Okay, and then looking forward to next week.
Yes.
Next week is circadian rhythm. So I probably
sometime in the future.
I should probably finish my notes on that one.
But again, I feel like so many times I'm like, this is one of my favorite topics. I just love being able to chat about this stuff. It's so fun.
Well, it's just practical,
yes,
foundational. And, of course, that's what we want to bring to you guys, is how we can impact your lives with information and really make some cool changes.
Yes.
Empower you to, do some good stuff.
At home.
For yourself. But don't just keep it for yourself, ladies.
No.
Yeah, share this episode with somebody that you love who can use some of this rooting on in these areas.
Sometimes I'm like, we come on this and just kind of joke around a lot. But it's pretty cool. When we do episodes, I'm like, I kind of got refired up for some things for my own health.
Yeah.
Just chatting.
We do this podcast mostly just to encourage ourselves.
It's self-serving. And I'm glad that some people take some good things from it.
So we did one helpful episode.
Episode 101.
101.
Finally made it.
We made a really good episode. Ladies,
we'll chat about sleep next week.
Bye.